Hey, it's Ben here, and here I just wanted to quickly talk about links and references and how you link to them in your blog posts when we're kind of working on our different projects. So in all your projects you will have some references to different artists or designers or kind of video creators depending on which course you're enrolled on. And I just want to talk a little bit about how we find those links and then how we also add them into our blog posts and a couple of good things to think about. So the first thing is when I'm actually linking to something in the blog post, I'll always try and include as much information about that blog post or video as possible. So for instance, the title of it, the name of the person, and then the year that it was created. So in this case, I'm going to copy this heading for this free software versus open source software blog post on DZone, and we'll copy this to here. And I did a Shift, Option, Command and paste when I actually pasted that into there. So actually we'll just delete that, I pasted it again. And what that does is it means that you paste it without any of the formatting that you get. I'm not sure what the shortcut is on Windows, but on the Mac, Shift, Option, Command and V will paste it just as the kind of plain text, which is kind of nice. So it gives you control over the formatting. And the next thing I will copy here when I'm doing my references is the year here, and the date and the author, and then we'll just paste that in after here, and I'm going to type in the year. Now I'm not too worried about the specific formatting, so whether it's Harvard or Oxford referencing for these blog posts, but having the basic title, name of the author or name of the artist, and the year that the work or the blog post was created is kind of a good thing, a good basic level to link to. So then we'll come back to our blog post, and it's this link that I'm now going to copy. So I'm going to copy that link or URL. We'll select our title here, and then with that selected, we can select the link button, and when we enter the URL here, so I paste that in there, it will actually use that text, which is the title of that blog post, as the link, which is quite nice. It tells me a bit more about what I'm clicking onto rather than just the URL itself, which doesn't really tell me too much about that link itself, and it's a bit more professional to do it in this way, which is ultimately what we're aiming towards. So I'm not familiar with the website DZone too much. It was a link from a student's piece of work, and so I want to talk a bit more about where we find our links and references. So we want to try and find links and references from reliable and kind of accredited sources. So one example of this would be looking for references on the BBC website. So if you're looking for good references, then the BBC, the CBC, CNN, those kind of news-based organizations will write articles, and they will also kind of be articles that are checked and vetted for publication on these websites. So that's a good place to kind of go and look for. So if we have a look at this page, then we think about how would we find a website or a page about open source content on the BBC website. And we can actually run a search on Google where we type in open source, and then if we type in site, a colon, and then bbc.co.uk, or let's actually type in cnn.com, look for a different website. So it's going to search for open source on the CNN website, which is going to mean that I only get results from that one website. So if we're looking at kind of refining and finding good sources for our references, for our links, then we can do that. And we'll find on all of these links, what is open source software on June the 4th, 2001. So this is kind of an older article, but a good reference. So it doesn't have the fancy formatting and that kind of stuff, but it's on a news website that we would class as a reliable source to reference in a blog post or an essay and stuff like that when we're thinking about improving our references at a university level. So the other thing we can do as well is search university websites. We can do the same search. So if we search for open source, we can type in edu, which would be all universities with the domain edu, and now we can search for open source articles in that particular university environment. So we're going to find here articles that we can reference. So for instance, let's have a look at 10 examples of open source software on the library website, I think. So this is mLibraries. Let's just have a look at what this is. So it's the University of Minnesota Libraries, and so here they're listing different kind of web sources. So again, if we're linking to a university's website, then we know that it's an accredited and reliable source of information. So we might link to these examples of open source software. So we can, again, copy the title, we can come to our blog post, we can paste that in, and then we'd also want to find out kind of where we're linking to. So I'm going to come down here. So you can see actually it's got references to the commercial bear hug of open source software. So this is also another important point. So actually I might not link to this article. I might just copy this and then paste that in, type in Forbes was the location of it, and then I can find that Forbes article. So digging deeper, finding those links, find those good references in the work that you're referencing and researching. Let's stop the ad playing. And then here, okay, the commercial bear hug of open source software. We're going to link to this. So I'll delete this link. But you can see we've gone to a university's website and we've found a kind of more reliable, referenceable article that we can use. So this is by Dan Woods. And it says this content is more than 10 years old. So there's no particular timestamp on it, I don't think. So we can't include that. That's okay. If there is no timestamp, then don't worry too much about it. But now we'll come back here and we'll copy the link. And we might also mention that it's on Forbes. So let's just make the link. Now if I've made my link and I want to modify the text in there, then I need to kind of click within the link to do that. So I'm going to come back here. Oh, actually, sorry, it does have the date there. I lie. It just says it's older than 10 years old. So we can come back in here and we can paste in. And by pasting within the D and the S there, I've actually kind of kept it within the link rather than having to remake the link. And we'll just type in. See, it loses the link at the end there. So I'll go between the 0 and the 8, and I'll type in 8 and Forbes.com as the source. Okay, so you can see there's just a little bit more information about your links. You can put these within the body of your research, or you can include them at the bottom. And make sure you get your spelling right. Okay. So in your blog post, you would have all your text, your images, and everything. And also with images, you want to make sure you link to those too, and then reference links to those. Now, if you're linking to kind of artists or designers' images, I'd also really encourage you to link to their website, so directly to their websites. Mention the name of the work. Take a screenshot or extract a kind of screenshot from a video if you're referencing a video, and then also make sure you link back to their website. So if you have any questions about this, then get in touch. But hopefully this is a kind of useful resource for thinking about how you're linking and the information you need to include in your links.